That's my secret, cat. I'm always angry.
Alright. I ran out of patience. On the roost!
Hey everyone, Captain, big fan of Spider-Man.
Avengers! Assemble.
Hello, Peter.
Hello and welcome to the Infinity Saga and Beyond, an MCU fan podcast. And today we are going to finally be talking Werewolf by Night, a Marvel Studios special presentation written by Heather Quinn and Peter Cameron, directed by Michael Giacchino, and it aired October 7th, 2022. So I'm recording this 20 days later because it was in the middle of She-Hulk, which I was doing. Then I had like a wedding the next weekend that I had to go to, and that kind of threw off my timing. And then this past weekend ended up busy for my mom's birthday, so everything kind of just got crazy at the time where I kept wanting to do this. I kept wanting to talk about Werewolf by Night. Let me just read the synopsis here before we get into it. But monster hunters gather to pay respects to their deceased leader and are thrust into a deadly game. My initial thoughts on Werewolf by Night is that this is one of the best things to come out of Phase 4. I'm not usually somebody that likes scary things or horror type stuff, but this is very marginal in that aspect. But also, it's just so well done. The horror stuff I liked and that I grew up on was, cheesy Halloween, Friday the 13th, stuff like that. But also, Abbott and Costello meet like Frankenstein, and Abbott Costello meet, Dracula. All those, the werewolf, all that kind of stuff that I grew up with. The Invisible Man, old school 1930s horror stuff in black and white. And this perfectly encapsulated all of that. The opening with the Marvel Studios logo and it changing to like this narration with the black and white logo. And I don't know, just like the vibes that it had were pretty immaculate. And I left it watching it, very, very pleased with what I had seen. And seriously think that it is one of the best things of Phase 4. Right now, if I had to probably rank them, it'd be something like No Way Home, Werewolf by Night, Shang-Chi, and I'm assuming Black Panther is going to be thrown in there. But those are probably my top 3 favorite things of Phase 4, along with throwing in like something like Loki, WandaVision, She-Hulk. But it's tough to start ranking stuff, especially when Phase 4 has so much stuff. But this show, and this special in particular, is paced excellently. It works beautifully, but what I mean by the pacing is excellent, it's like 55 minutes. It's not something that was drawn out. A lot of people's complaints about the Disney Plus shows and all that kind of stuff is that it feels like a 2-hour movie made into 6 episodes for 6 hours. But I've never really had that problem with a lot of these. But what I will say is, if you looked at it from that perspective, Werewolf by Night is paced, like I said, excellently. It does this great dramatic reveal at the beginning. Everybody coming in. Very reminiscent to Clue, I would say. The 1984 Clue film. Where you see everybody kind of, getting in. You're introduced to each one of these hunters. And, of course, our main character of Jack. But we get all of that fun stuff as it comes into it. And then, just the setup of them going into the maze to hunt this monster. We have no idea who the monster is. And then, we get all of that great stuff. I don't know, that is just something that I really loved. I really enjoyed the way that it opened. Loved the way it set up the characters. And then I guess if you're somebody that's not familiar with this, if you didn't know that Jack was our main character and that he is the werewolf, I really wonder how that worked for people, because I don't think he's like the first one we're introduced to. So it's kind of interesting to see how this all came together and like who we're supposed to be rooting for. Because when they do introduce Elsa Bloodstone, I wonder if people are thinking, oh, this is probably our main character. Like, I've talked to so many people that had no idea what this was at all, but I haven't been able to get the chance to ask them, like, what was your, like, process going on here? So I guess kind of let's break it into the plot. So Ulysses Bloodstone, who is a Marvel character, his first appearance was in Marvel Presents #1, which was October of 1975. And he is usually an immortal monster hunter. He dies, and 5 experienced monster hunters, which are including Jack Russell, are summoned by Ulysses' widow, Verussa, to Bloodstone Manor. And they're going to participate in this hunt to determine the new leader of this hunter clan, I guess, and who will wield something they call the Bloodstone. Ulysses has an estranged daughter, Elsa, who also arrives, and she wants the Bloodstone because it is her birthright, right? And Verussa is warning her against this. Anyway, let's get into it then. Ulysses, like I said, October 1975. Jack Russell, his first appearance was in Marvel Spotlight #2, February 1972. Jack Russell is a descendant of the mystically altered offshoot of humans known as lycanthropes. During the night of the full moon and 2 nights surrounding it, he is forced to mutate into a werewolf and loses his human intellect, which he talks about here in this special. Through a series of events, he is also capable of mutating voluntarily outside of the full moon, at which he remains in control of himself. We didn't really get hinted to that, I don't think. Maybe it's something he doesn't know he can do at this time. Let's finish setting the stage. Elsa Bloodstone. When did she first appear? She first appeared in Bloodstone #1, December of 2001. And this is what I like, is when new writers come in and they take a character like Ulysses, who was created in 1975, and in 2001 expand on that. All right, now he's got a daughter, and we're going to create a whole series based on Elsa. And Elsa has superhuman strength, speed, durability, and endurance, and a regenerative healing factor. We don't know if she has that in the MCU, by the way. She seemed pretty mortal in this, but also apparently her father had these abilities as well. She also in the comics has immunity to vampire bites, and her blood will actually kill a vampire if consumed. Yeah, so there you go. I don't know if that's how they're going to play it in the MCU going forward, but just some little background on Jack, Ulysses, and Elsa, who are really the main 3 comic characters that kind of set up the plot here. So the hunt is going to take place in this large maze in the manor, or on the grounds of the manor. And they have a captured monster in there. We've alluded to that. And that is who the hunters are supposed to go after. So they kind of get sent in, I guess, one at a time, right? Jack goes in there pretty early, I think. And he's going to run into Elsa at one point, and he's going to say, hey, let's just let each other pass here. And he's going to find the monster, and the monster is Man-Thing. Now, they didn't use the name Man-Thing in the special at all, to my knowledge, that I can recall. This I haven't rewatched it since I watched it 20 days ago. But I was looking out for it while I was watching it. I don't recall them saying Man-Thing. But he calls him Ted, and Ted is actually the original name of the Man-Thing before he turned into the Man-Thing. So let's kind of back this up and talk about Man-Thing now. The Man-Thing first appeared in Savage Tales #1 in 1971 in May, and his human name is Dr. Theodore Salas. Ted is his nickname there. His abilities are superhuman strength, durability, stamina, empathic senses, chlorokinetic regeneration, size alteration, corrosive chemical secretion, teleportation, portal creation, fear empowerment, reality guardianship, and plant manipulation. So this is where we kind of get the reveal that Jack is friends with Ted, or Man-Thing, and he's like, I'm going to get you out of here. And he is going to leave and try to set up this plan, and he's going to run into somebody that is another hunter, and he's going to have to fight off one of the hunters. Elsa also runs into another hunter and fights off him before they both end up in a mausoleum where the two agree to work together to get Ted out of there. And then Jack says, I'll let you have the Bloodstone. He doesn't care, right? So the Bloodstone is with Man-Thing, and it drains his powers a bit. So Ted has this nice brutal kill on one of the hunters, while Jack is going to destroy the outer wall of the maze so that they can escape. And while that is going on, when the Bloodstone comes off and Jack tries to go over and retrieve it for Elsa, it drains some of his powers, and this is where we get the reveal that he is one of these, I guess, monsters or creatures as well. And Ted escapes. Now we kind of come to with Jack coming to in a cage while Elsa's there. Elsa now knows that something is wrong with Jack, and she's kind of hesitant. She wants him to stay away from her, and he does this thing where he wants to be able to remember her, and that it's happened once before. You know, he's like, hey, let me, I guess, kind of smell you, kind of get close to you so I can hopefully remember you, so I don't kill you when I become a wolf. Because you know, while it is not going to be a full moon, it's not for another 4 days, Verussa is able to use the Bloodstone to make him turn into the werewolf. So he breaks out of the cage, and I like the way it does the whole this whole thing is well shot, like I said before, but when it does him turning into the werewolf, and it has the shadow on the wall with it's just so classic 30s, 40s horror monster films that it was perfect. I know some people are like, well, they probably did it to save budget. Yeah, probably, but it also is stylistically works, and I think that is pretty great. We don't need to see a full CG transformation. It's enough to imply stuff. You know, when people talk about scary movies, sometimes Jaws, right? You don't really see the shark that much. It's the implication of the shark and them killing that. You don't need to see some of the violent stuff or the transformation because it's implied and it's creating a reaction that way. But yeah, the werewolf, which is Jack, breaks out of the cage. He's going to slaughter the guards, and Verussa is able to kind of subdue him with the Bloodstone. Now, Elsa's able to escape as well. She's going to kill the remaining hunters, and she's going to stop her mom from killing Jack. Now, Jack will attack Elsa, but he will actually recognize her at this point and leave her alone. And he's going to leave the manor. Now, Verussa tries to kill Elsa, but Ted, Man-Thing, comes back in and just incinerates Verussa, which was great. And that leaves... Ted goes to find Jack, while Elsa ends up with the manor and the Bloodstone, and we get a nice little cleaning montage at the end. And we also get it turning into color. And we get to see Jack, Elsa, and Ted in color. And that's how it ends. And again, I just thought this was a really great special. I think it's going to get added into my Halloween rotation for sure. And it's just one of those things that is very interesting. This opens up a lot of doors, right? We already know we're having another special presentation with Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, which is going to be released on November 25th. So around that time frame, I will be back on here talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special. And a new trailer for that just came out. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But now there's been rumors of Silver Surfer getting a special presentation. We don't know if that's true. There's rumors of special presentations becoming like the norm. And I think that's cool because if they're all paced around this, 45 to an hour and a half, I think that is perfect time to let whoever's going to do it, direct it. Tell a story, introduce characters that maybe you want to use later, but either you don't feel like they have the backing for a theatrical release, or you worry about, okay, but we can only do 4 theatrical releases a year, and that ends up us not introducing them for another 10 years. And if we did a Disney Plus show, we don't think we have 6 hours worth of content. We think we have this hour and a half story, 2-hour story. So that is what is so interesting about the special presentation and how this is going to work going forward. I don't think everything needs to be a special presentation, honestly. I think it works perfect the way it is. We have films that are going to be in theaters. We now have what we're going to have as well. We're going to have Disney Plus shows that we've already had, and we can continue to have going forward. And then we will also have the specials. And I think that is like 3 different ways that you can have content through the MCU, and it works perfectly. There's rumors of like Nova getting a special presentation. Like I said, characters that you can just introduce that you are going to be in movies later on, or TV shows later on, and you want to set them up, but you don't want to wait the 5 years for them to be a film. When you can film this pretty quickly, it can be lower budget, but also still high quality, still shot well, and available on Disney Plus, which I feel like most MCU fans are probably going to have. And you can still introduce them into the movie that they're going to be in, or the show they're going to be in, without people having to have seen it. But then it's one of those things of, Silver Surfer was in Fantastic Four, but guess what? He also had his own special presentation. Let's go ahead and watch that because I missed it. Those are the things that can be really fun with how it is all set up. So I don't know. I'm very excited. I'm very happy to see how this will all go forward here with what's left. But let's see if I can pull up the Guardians of the Galaxy Halloween special, and which, by the way, while people may not, I don't know how popular this special was, right? That's something that is just kind of hard to know, how popular the special was. But when your second special that you're releasing is Guardians of the Galaxy, which is one of the biggest names of this generation of superheroes, it makes you wonder, like, it really makes you wonder if this can launch the special presentations to a whole nother stratosphere where people watch that one and then they say, oh my god, there was another one. It was this Halloween one. Let's watch it. And maybe pick it up that way and kind of really introduce the concept to people that are not familiar with the special presentation that, hey, Guardians have one, and it's fantastic. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this trailer working. All right, so let's go ahead and watch this. Let's go ahead and watch this trailer and share my thoughts here on the holiday special.
I just saw on the calendar that right now on Earth it's almost Christmas time.
We don't have time for trivialities like Christmas.
But Peter's so sad about Gamora being gone. Maybe if we go to Earth for a really wonderful Christmas gift, it would make him happy. Something special he will never forget.
What about someone special?
We're looking for the legendary Kevin Bacon.
We're looking for the legendary Kevin Bacon.
I just said that, Drax.
Your voice is small and mousy. I think maybe he didn't hear you. You're coming with us as a Christmas present. I'm through.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and watch it one more time with a little lower volume, and I'll kind of talk about my thoughts as we go through here. So I think the vibe of this trailer is pretty great
I
with
just
the
saw on the calendar
holiday
that right now on
music.
Earth it's almost Christmas time.
We don't have time for trivialities like Christmas.
But Peter's so
And it makes me wonder how they know about Christmas. Like, is that something that Peter's told them before? And does he have like memories of it he shared with them? But I think it's funny that like Kraglin brings it up here.
sad about Gamora being gone. Maybe if we go to Earth for a really wonderful Christmas gift, it would make him happy. Something special he will never forget.
It definitely seems like we're getting a lot of Mantis and Drax in this, which I think makes sense. They're probably the easiest ones to put in here compared to Rocket and Groot. And I guess Star-Lord is, just Chris Pratt. But I think that that's something that's interesting as well. And we get kind of like a Groot that's, I don't know if he's supposed to be in between teen and adult at this point. He's almost as tall as old Groot, but he's still got like a baby face. So I'm really curious about what we're going to see with Groot in this, because I wonder how that's going to set it up for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I was kind of wondering, and I'm not sure if Gunn's talked about it before, but if we're going to get like adult Groot again, which again, he's been very clear. This is a different Groot than the one that passed away. The one that passed away, yes, they plant him and in comes a new Groot, but it is like his offspring. It's not the original Groot. So I wonder how that's going to go with this, what that kind of looks like. So, because with Guardians 3, I'm kind of hoping we have adult Groot again, because this is the last time James Gunn is working on Guardians.
What about someone special?
We're looking for the legendary Kevin Bacon.
We're looking.
And this is great too. If you don't recall, Kevin Bacon was referenced, I think, in Guardians 1, maybe 2, right? And then he was also mentioned again in Infinity War. So this has been kind of building up here for Kevin Bacon.
For the legendary Kevin Bacon.
I just said that, Drax.
Your voice is small and mousy. I think maybe he didn't hear you.
He's just breaking into his house.
As a Christmas present.
I love that when it says starring, it says the name of the actual characters. We get Cosmo, by the way. Yes, Cosmo the dog. We are getting Cosmo in this special and in Guardians 3, but it looks like they're going to be introduced here in the special. All right. Well, that is the trailer. What do I think? I think this looks like a fun Christmas time special. I think it looks very interesting. Um, I think it's just going to be a good time. I don't know what to expect lengthwise. When we had the other one is 55 minutes. He was shooting this, Gunn was shooting this at the same time as Guardians 3. I'm going to say probably 35, 45 minutes is what I'm expecting going into this. But I just am so happy to have the Guardians back on my screen again. It's been a while since we've had the Guardians of the Galaxy. I know people say, well, Thor, Love and Thunder. But I mean, in their own story, it's been since 2017, Guardians Volume 2, which is 5 years ago. Next year, when we look at Guardians Volume 3, that's going to be 6 years on from the last film. So I'm really pumped for this. I love seeing Kevin Bacon in it, playing himself. And I really wonder what Chris Pratt's storyline is going to be here with Star-Lord, because he's not in this a lot here in this trailer. It's a lot of Mantis and a lot of Drax and some Nebula, Kraglin, Groot, and Rocket. I don't think Peter say a word at all in this. He looks sad because he's mourning Gamora still. But he doesn't really say anything in this. So I'm very curious on if he's not in it a lot because they're doing this journey to get Kevin Bacon. And I guess we'll find out. But hey, the fun of it is, I was thinking it was going to release in December. It is releasing in less than a month. So we have a lot of fun building up to that. So coming up in a couple weeks is Black Panther Wakanda Forever. We'll have a recap for that. And we'll have a recap for the holiday special and probably some fun comic stuff there as I'm still getting Daredevil rewatch organized. What we'll also have is coming up on the feed that you're listening to if you're listening to it on the podcast feed, the next Elseworlds episode, which is our DC sister show, is going to be out as well. I know you're thinking you probably just saw it in the feed for Black Adam, but speaking of James Gunn, and a couple hours after this trailer dropped, he was announced as taking over DC Studios and being like the Kevin Feige-esque character, not character, but Feige-esque figurehead of DC films. And with Peter Safran, his former manager and producer, who's produced a lot of movies for DC and WB. So if you're curious about my thoughts on that and how that could affect the DC side of things and probably some Marvel stuff as well with James Gunn, listen to that episode, Elseworlds, which should be on the podcast feed. If you're on the YouTube watching this, go to channels, and it's one of our sister channels there. But I just want to thank everyone for listening to this Werewolf by Night episode and for all of the holiday special Guardians talk that I just went through on here. If you want to give us a follow, you can reach us on Twitter at TO Infinity Saga, Facebook.com/Infinity Saga Beyond. You can also email us, marvelplusrecaps@gmail.com. I'm always looking for feedback, always looking. I can read it on air if you would like, but to create some discussion, or you can even pitch episode ideas there. If there's something passionate you think you want to talk about or want to hear me talk about, there's that. And so I hope everyone has a great rest of their week. And I guess we'll catch you next time for Black Panther, unless if I have something else to talk about between then. But have a great rest of your week. We'll catch you next time.